The passengers on the flight were already nervous. At 36,000 feet, somewhere over the sprawling American heartland, the ordinary drone of the engines was suddenly joined by a deep, powerful roar that just didn't belong. Two F-22 Raptor fighter jets, gray ghosts against the brilliant blue sky, had appeared out of nowhere. They flanked the airliner, holding their position with a predatory stillness that sent a wave of panic through the cabin. Phones came out, faces pressed against windows. Panicked whispers filled the air as flight attendants tried to keep everyone calm. Everyone was looking for answers. Everyone, that is, except for the woman in seat 12F. She just watched calmly, as if she were expecting them. The other passengers didn't know it yet, but she was the reason they were there. You've probably seen stories like this floating around the internet. They feel real, they have the grit of truth, and they speak to a part of us that wants to believe in hidden heroes walking among us. The story of Dana, Ghost Cross is one of those tales. Now, to be clear, there are no official records of this specific event ever happening. Military jets do escort commercial planes, but it's almost always for a security threat, not to give a salute. And while Ghost is a real call sign used by some Air Force squadrons, the pilot in this story is a fictional character. But this story persists for a reason. It's a modern legend, a piece of fiction that gets at a deeper truth about the culture of respect in the military, a world where a name earned in the sky can mean more than any rank on the ground. So, let's treat this as the powerful, what-if story it is. Before the sky filled with the thunder of fighter jets, the flight was a perfect picture of boring travel. It was packed. You had businessmen frantically typing on laptops, a young family behind them wrestling with a toddler, and students lost in their headphones. It was the usual organized chaos, where the golden rule is to keep to yourself. And right in the middle of it all, in the dreaded middle seat 12F, sat a woman who was the definition of unremarkable. Her name was Dana Cross. She looked to be in her early 50s, her hair tied back in a simple bun. She wore a plain navy blue jacket and sensible shoes, no flash, no fuss. She'd given a polite, short smile to her seatmates and then retreated into a well-worn paperback. To anyone who glanced her way, she was just another face in the crowd, easily forgotten. The salesman in the aisle seat, Mark, had tried to make small talk, but her short answers gave him nothing. Librarian, he thought, and turned back to his phone, dismissing her completely. Even the flight attendants saw nothing special. Alicia Grant, the senior attendant with 12 years of experience, had seen it all. The woman in 12F was a zero on her radar. A low-maintenance passenger. The kind you appreciate. She didn't ask for anything, didn't complain, didn't even order a drink. This was the art she had perfected over the last 15 years, the art of being invisible. Anonymity was her shield. In a world that was constantly shouting, she had chosen to be a whisper. As the plane reached cruising altitude, a calm settled over the cabin. People started to drift off. It was a peaceful, ordinary flight. Dana closed her book, marking her page, and stared out the window into the endless blue. Her expression was unreadable. And it was in that quiet moment that the world outside her window changed forever. Section 2, The Ghosts in the Sky. It started with a glint of sunlight on metal where there should have been only sky. A passenger in a window seat saw it first. He fumbled for his phone, muttering, "No way. No way." His words were a stone dropped into the quiet pond of the cabin. Heads turned. A ripple of curiosity became a chorus of disbelief. Are those fighter jets? What's going on? There, in perfect, unervingly close formation, was an F-22 Raptor. It was so close you could see the rivets on its body. Then, a second F-22 appeared on the other side, a perfect mirror image. They weren't just flying by. They were staying. The initial excitement quickly turned to anxiety. This wasn't an airshow. This was something else. Fighter jets don't just show up next to a commercial plane in peacetime. It means something is terribly wrong. Are we being hijacked? A woman whispered, her voice trembling. Maybe there's a bomb threat, someone else said, and the word bomb hung in the air like poison. Mark, the salesman, was wide awake now, his face pale. He knew enough to understand that two of the most advanced fighter jets on the planet don't appear for no reason. What's going on? He demanded of a flight attendant. You have to tell us. The flight attendants were trying their best, but their smiles were brittle. Alicia Grant's heart was pounding. She moved down the aisle, her voice firm. Please, everyone, remain in your seats. The captain will give us an update as soon as he has one. But she knew the words were empty. The cockpit wasn't responding immediately, which only deepened her own fear. And through it all, the woman in seat 12F remained an island of calm. While everyone else looked out the windows with fear, Dana Cross was looking with something else, recognition. She wasn't surprised. She wasn't scared. Her eyes flicked from one jet to the other, not with the panicked gaze of a civilian, but with the appraising eye of a professional. The young woman in the window seat turned to her, her face ashen. I'm scared, she whispered. What do you think is happening? Dana turned and offered a small, reassuring smile. They're good pilots, she said, her voice quiet but steady. Very good. Then she turned back to the window, leaving the young woman more confused than ever. Who was this woman? How could she be so calm? The captain's voice finally crackled over the intercom. The cabin went silent. Folks, this is your captain speaking. His voice was strained. As you've no doubt noticed, we have a military escort. We've been instructed to maintain our current course. Please remain calm. The message did the exact opposite of calming people. We've been instructed, sent a new jolt of fear through the passengers. They weren't being protected, they were being controlled. And still, the woman in 12F sat unfazed. She wasn't reading her book anymore. She was just watching the pilots in their cockpits. She knew their kind. She knew the training, the discipline, the language of the sky. This wasn't aggression. It was a message. A summons. For 15 years, she'd built a quiet life. She consulted on civilian avionics systems, a job that was technical but far from the world she once dominated. She had a small house, a garden, and a few friends who knew nothing about her past. They didn't know she once answered to a different name, a name whispered with awe in the briefing rooms of the United States Air Force. Alicia, the flight attendant, couldn't ignore her calm demeanor. It was unnatural. She knelt beside the row. Ma'am, she said, her voice low. Are you all right? Dana turned, her eyes meeting Alicia's. There was no fear, only a deep, weary resignation. I'm fine, Alicia, she said calmly. Alicia froze. She hadn't told anyone her name. For this passenger to notice her name tag in this chaos and use her name so familiarly was jarring. How did you? Alicia started. Dana gave a faint, sad smile. You're good at your job. You keep your head in a crisis. They teach you that, but not everyone listens. Before Alicia could respond, the captain's voice came on again. This time, his tone was completely different. The strain was gone, replaced by profound, undisguised awe. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his voice cracking slightly. I have an apology to make. And an explanation. We are not in any danger. We are in the presence of a hero. A confused silence fell. The captain continued, our escort is an honor guard. They are here for one of our passengers. We have been asked to relay a message. He paused. This escort is for the pilot the world once knew by one name. They are here for Ghost. Ghost. The name hung in the air. It meant nothing to most of the passengers. But in the world of military aviation, it was a legend. As the captain spoke the name, the F-22s outside responded. With breathtaking precision, the jet on the right dipped its left wing sharply. The jet on the left mirrored the movement, dipping its right. It was a wing dip. The aerial equivalent of a crisp, formal salute. It was a gesture of ultimate respect from two of the most advanced flying machines ever created, to honor one person on a commercial flight. Everyone with a window seat saw it. The phones that had been recording out of fear were now recording out of pure awe. The murmurs died instantly, replaced by a stunned silence. And in seat 12F, Dana Cross, the quiet woman, acknowledged the gesture. She didn't stand. She didn't wave. She simply raised her right hand and placed it over her heart. A silent message sent across the sky, message received. I see you. Thank you. The spell was broken by a choked whisper from Mark, the salesman. It's her, he breathed. She's Ghost. Every head in the cabin turned to stare at the woman they had all ignored. They looked at her plain clothes and tired eyes, trying to square the image with the honor they had just witnessed. Alicia, still kneeling in the aisle, stared at Dana, her mind reeling. The calm, the use of her name, the comment about her training, it all clicked into place. She wasn't just a passenger, she was a commander. The young woman in the window seat looked at Dana with reverence. You knew, she stammered. Dana finally turned her gaze away from the window. The mask of the quiet professional fell away, revealing a deep weariness in her eyes, but also an undeniable strength. There was never anything to be scared of, she said, her voice clear and calm. They're our boys. They were just seeing me home. Section 5, The Legend of Ghost. The rest of the flight was silent, not with fear, but with respect. When the plane taxied to the gate, no one rushed to get their bags. Mark, the salesman, stood up, turned to Dana, and said, "Ma'am, it's an honor to fly with you." Then, a two-star Air Force general appeared at the cabin door. He strode down the aisle, stopped at her row, and rendered a sharp salute. "Colonel Cross," he said, his voice ringing with authority. "Welcome to Washington. We have a car waiting." As she stood to leave, the entire cabin, as if on cue, erupted into thunderous applause. So who was Dana Ghost Cross? The legend, as it's told, is one of incredible skill and courage. She was one of the first women chosen for the F-22 Raptor program. Quiet and studious, she didn't just fly the Raptor, she seemed to commune with it, understanding its secrets better than the engineers who designed it. Her call sign was earned during a top-secret test flight over the Nevada desert. The goal, to fly through the most advanced simulated air defense network on Earth without being detected. Pilot after pilot had failed. When it was Dana's turn, she did something unbelievable. Halfway to the target, her F-22 vanished. Not just from enemy radar, but from NORAD's own systems. For 12 terrifying minutes, she was gone. Then, a calm voice broke the radio silence, "Target acquired and serviced." It was Dana. She had reappeared directly over the target. In the debrief, she explained that she had found a hole in the system's own logic, a constantly shifting blind spot that she flew through by feel and intuition, making adjustments faster than any computer. One of the mission controllers declared, she didn't fly through it. She haunted it. She's a ghost. The name stuck. Colonel Dana Ghost Cross became the Air Force's secret weapon, writing the playbook on stealth and electronic warfare that pilots still use today. Her retirement was as quiet as her career. She simply disappeared, leaving many to wonder if she was a deep cover asset, only to be called back in the most dire of circumstances. The honor guard on her flight suggested that time had come. CTA and conclusion. The story of the woman in seat 12F is a powerful reminder that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear plain jackets and sit quietly in the middle seat, carrying the weight of their service in silence. This idea of a call sign commanding so much respect is a cornerstone of military culture. It's not just a nickname, it's a symbol of a sacred trust forged in the sky. There are other legends, like the story of Midnight Viper, a janitor whose hidden past as a heroic pilot was revealed, earning him a salute from an entire squadron. These stories, whether fact or fiction, highlight a code of honor that doesn't depend on rank or public recognition. It's about the respect you've earned from those who faced the fire alongside you. These tales remind us to look closer, to not judge a book by its cover, and to remember that the person sitting next to you might just be a legend in their own right.